Okay, let's just dive right in. Every single day, you and I, we make hundreds, maybe thousands of choices. But how many of them are really, truly our own? We're about to pull back the curtain on this hidden world of psychological influence, these subtle, super powerful techniques that shape our decisions when we're not even paying attention.
So I want you to start with this big question. Just think about it for a second. That last big thing you bought, or the last favor you did for a friend, or shoot, even the last person you voted for. Do you think you made that decision in a total vacuum? Or could you have been guided by these invisible scripts running in the background? And that's really the whole point. Real influence isn't about some obvious in-your-face force. Nah, it's about these subtle little tactics that work just below our conscious thought. Understanding them, well, that's a kind of power, not just to influence other people, but, and this is more important, to protect yourself.
All right, so first up, we're going to look at techniques that are designed to literally alter someone's perception of the world. And these are so powerful because they don't just change a person's mind. They change the very reality that mind is working in.
First on the list is something called the illusion of choice. And honestly, this is just a masterclass in subtle control. See, you're not telling someone what to do. You're just defining the playground they get to play on. It makes them feel like they have total freedom, total autonomy, but you're making sure the outcome is always one you've already approved.
And you know, it's actually super simple to see in action. If you ask a friend, hey, want to go out tonight? That question opens the door for a simple no. But if you ask Pizza Hut or Domino's tonight, well, that's a whole different game. The question is no longer if you're going out, it's where. The yes is already baked in, and your friend feels like they're the one making the final call. You see this everywhere, from parenting to those cookie pop-ups on websites.
Okay, this next one it's even more potent. It's called false memory planting. Now, this works because our memories, they're not like perfect video recordings of the past. Nope, they're more like reconstructions. And that, right there, that makes them vulnerable. This technique just exploits that vulnerability by repeating a lie so often and so consistently that our brain eventually starts to treat it like a genuine memory.
So here's a classic example of how this plays out. A politician gets up at a rally and makes some bold claim. Then, that exact same claim gets repeated in interviews, maybe with a few extra details thrown in to make it sound more real, and then boom, it spreads like wildfire all over social media. After you hear it from all these different places, your brain can just start to accept it, not as a claim that needs to be checked, but as a fact you just remember. Repetition literally creates the reality.
Now we're going to shift gears. Let's look at techniques that use our own social instincts against us. These tactics, they work not by changing how we see the facts, but by using our own emotions and our deep-seated desire to be consistent.
This is called the yes ladder. You might have also heard it called the foot in the door technique. The psychology behind it is just fascinating. Once we say yes to something small, our brain desperately wants to stay consistent with that decision. It actually becomes psychologically harder to say no to the next request, even if it's bigger. You know, think about free trials for subscription services. The first yes is so easy. It's free. By the time the big ask for a promotion comes, the boss has already said yes to you multiple times. They've been kind of conditioned to agree with you.
Oof. I mean, that line probably sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? It's the classic setup for a tactic that just bypasses all logic and goes straight for the heartstrings.
And that's the guilt trap in action. At its core, it's not a logical argument at all. It's purely emotional. It reframes a request so it's not a simple transaction anymore. Now it's a test of your loyalty, a test of your gratitude. By bringing up some past favor, the person makes it feel like saying no isn't just a refusal, it's a personal rejection. It's a sign that you're ungrateful. So suddenly, you're not just deciding if you want to help them move, you're deciding if you're a good person.
All right, on to our final tactic. The first two sections were all about what you say. This one, well, it's about what you don't say. And it is maybe the most underestimated tool in the entire playbook. See how that feels? A little uncomfortable, right? That little bit of tension you just felt, that's exactly why this works.
As humans, we are just hardwired to fill empty space in a conversation. An awkward silence creates this vacuum that the other person feels an intense psychological pressure to fill. In a negotiation, they might actually lower their price just to break that tension. In a confrontation, they might give up information they never intended to. Just by staying quiet, you project confidence and you force the other person to show their cards. It is a total power move that requires nothing but a little self-control.
So we've walked through 5 really powerful, maybe kind of dark techniques. But look, the goal here isn't to teach you how to be a manipulator. It's to give you the tools to recognize when it's being used on you.
You know, the antidote to every single one of these techniques is surprisingly simple. The defense isn't some complicated countermove. In every case, it's just awareness. It's about taking a mental step back to see the pattern, to spot those escalating requests, to separate a past favor from a current decision, or to actually question a claim that's just built on repetition instead of real evidence. It's all about pausing and asking yourself, wait a minute, what's really happening here?
And that really is the ultimate takeaway. True power isn't about being the one who pulls these psychological strings. It's about seeing them, understanding exactly how they work, and then being able to make your own decisions free from their pull. That awareness, that's your shield.
And so that's the question I really want to leave you with. As you go about your week, just start looking for these patterns. Look for them in ads, in work meetings, in conversations with your family and friends. Now that you can see the strings, I promise you are going to start noticing them everywhere. The only question left is, who's pulling them?